For one of the most used of Hoteling's economic insights, I will rely heavily on a summary of Arrow and Lehman, 2005, page 8, because it is contained not in a paper, but in a letter to the director of the National Park Service. The director had asked him and others how to measure the economic value of national parks. Since the entrance fee is relatively small, it is clear that people are probably getting satisfaction from the park well in excess of the fee charged. Hoteling noted that people usually have to travel considerable distances and thereby incur significant money costs. If we find the largest distance traveled, then those individuals can be thought of as getting zero net satisfaction. The value of the park less the transportation costs. Then all nearer individuals get a surplus that can be computed. By integrating over the population, we can get a total measure of satisfaction. This method is called the transport cost method. Has been used numerous times to evaluate the social gain to parks and similar geographically defined sites. Let us consider a hypothetical park, where this example is taken from Perman and colleagues. The park authority kept visitor records depicted in this table by distance from the park. A first step in estimating the park's value is by finding a relation between the number of visitors and travel costs. Let's say we can estimate such a relationship with the help of ordinary least squares to control for other observable characteristics. And suppose that this procedure gives us park visits as a function of travel cost specified as 10,500 visits minus 300 visits per dollar travel cost for this example. Now, in a second step, we take our estimated relationship, add a hypothetical ticket price, and estimate for each hypothetical ticket price how many people we would expect to visit the park. In doing so, we create a demand function for park visits depending on these hypothetical ticket prices. All we need to do next is integrate over this demand function to determine the consumer plus of the park. In this example, this procedure suggests a park value of a little over $1 million, in case you want to check. While the travel cost method may help us to get some estimate for the recreational value of natural capital, the method has important limitations. For example, estimates depend on what one assumes for the opportunity cost of time, how one treats distance to other parks that may serve as substitutes, or how one treats combined visits. The idea behind the travel cost method has also been applied to using differences in housing prices to obtain estimates for the value of proximity to nature. It is also good to keep in mind that the travel cost method can only give estimates of parks their recreational value. That is, it is unable to capture non-use value or intrinsic value. For example, I've never visited the Great Barrier Reef, yet I attach value to its health, or in terms of bequest value, I may never get to see a tree kangaroo in person, but I value that my nephew could still do so one day. For these type of non-use values, we cannot use revealed preference studies. One indication of this intrinsic value may be donation behavior. However, this would be a very limited measure because the willingness to donate probably suffers mostly from budget constraints to do so. So rather than looking at behavior, scholars try to obtain value estimates from stated preferences. However, as talk is cheap, how can estimates based on it be valuable?